Good morning. My name is Melissa Almodovar. I'm the Interim Director of the Procurement Division for the Community Development Block Grant, and Disaster Recovery and Mitigation Programs. In this pre-brief meeting, we are going to explain the process for the CDBG-DR-IFB-2022-03. That's the invitation for bids for increased capacity for PV systems, water storage system acquisition, and installation services for the CDBG-DR MEET programs. I would like to introduce my team from the PRDOH. We have here Natalia de Jesus, she's the Interim Deputy Director. We have Jeanette Beauchamp, Technical Specialist, Natalia Flores, Technical Specialist, Jaisa Colon, Procurement Specialist, and here also with us, we have Joanny Camacho from the Housing Programs from the PRDOH, and we have participation from the Federal Compliance and Subrecipient Management Division. Any questions submitted in this meeting will be answered in writing and will be published in an addendum. Any information provided in this meeting will not change the terms and conditions established in the invitation for bids instructions. We want to tell everybody, notify everybody that this meeting is being recorded and will be published at a later time in an addendum that will be published in our webpage. All procurement processes shall be conducted in accordance with the terms and conditions established in the procurement manual and contractual requirements to guarantee full and open competition and fair treatment of all persons or entities involved in each procurement process. This procurement manual is available at the CDBG-DR webpage at www.cdbg-dr.pr.gov in reference materials, and is incorporated by reference and made an integral part of this IFB. Now I will leave you with Joanny Camacho, who will explain the series program and the IFB scope of work.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Joanny Camacho. I'm the program lead for the R3 program and also for the SURI program. This is invitation for bid 2022 for an increased capacity in the Community Energy and Water Resilience Installations program. We are going to discuss the program description, including an overview, the relation of this program to the R3 program, and program eligibility. Also, we want to briefly discuss the program structure, roles, and responsibilities, system descriptions, including photovoltaic system and water storage systems. The Community Energy and Water Resilient Installations program will provide homeowners energy and water efficiency improvements to promote resilience with the installation of PV system with battery backup for critical loads and water storage systems. The PV system will allow eligible applicants the ability to run critical loads, some household appliances, life support devices, and permit for shelter-in-place options during outages. The water storage system will provide households with the ability to store water to be used when there is an interruption in water services. For the system capacity, we have 3 kilos or 4.3 kilos, depending on the critical loads. And we're gonna be presenting you some scenarios which will help you determine these capacities. The system capacity max for the water storage system is 500 gallons. This program has an allocation of $300 million and is like R3 is a direct distribution model. As you can, as I was saying before, this is a program that is directly managed by the PRDOH and is intended to work with and complement the existing CDBG repair, reconstruction, or relocation program. Homeowners receiving assistance and will have received a notice of award under the R3 program for repair, reconstruction, or new construction may be eligible to receive services under this program. As the R3 case is complete, the SURI program receives the referral from the R3 program, and then it starts the application process. This means it's going through intake, applicant eligibility, dwelling eligibility with a pre-installation assessment, the design of the systems, the award determination, the installation commissioning, inspection, and then the closeout of the case. In terms of the program structure, roles, and responsibilities, we have a program manager who is in charge of the general program management and administration of the program, complete applications and pre-installation assessment reviews, is in charge of the scope of work review and program award coordination, and the final inspection, payment request, and closeout. As for the acquisition and installation services, which are the installers, they are in charge of the installation and the acquisition of PV systems with backup and water storage system, conduct and perform pre-installation assessment visit and documentation, perform commissioning tests, perform award basis with the PMs to each applicant's property to complete the project grant management agreement, assist PMs during final inspections, and orientation and training to applicants. Vivienda, PRDOH, will provide the supporting documents templates of the program, such as the pre-installation assessments, commissioning reports, and other template forms. This way, we standardize the program. All documentation created by the installers will be submitted to the grant management system digital platform to store and manage all program-related data. PRDOH will provide the training to the selected bidders regarding the program processes, the templates of the program, such as the pre-installation assessment, commissioning report, and other template forms. Training for the grant management system digital platform will be provided to the selected bidders. I'm going to pass to Tamari Alvarez, which is part of my team.
Right. Hello, everyone. So to talk a little bit more specifically about the AIS role, the AIS role is, as you can see in the gray area, the dwelling eligibility design, award determination, and the installation and commissioning team. They are the contractors for this, and this is the RFP for that specific group. So one particular information that you should be aware of is that they should be certified installers under the Department of Economic Development, and some of the tasks that they will be doing are the pre-installation assessment with the report, the design, the permits, the award visit, the installation of the PV and or the water storage system, commissioning with its report, and the orientation and training to applicants. In the AIS team, we have two main tasks. One is performed by the designers, the other is by the installers. In terms of the designers, they would be involved in the pre-installation assessment of each case. So in that case, they would verify the roof capacity for the support of the equipment and assess other items that would facilitate the installation of the systems that are included in this program. In terms of the installers, they're responsible for, like I said, doing the installation and providing training to operations and maintenance, among other of the tasks. The qualifications for those roles, in terms of the designer, it must be a licensed engineer that has at least 5 years of experience doing PV system design and 2 years of experience doing water storage system design. They also need to have the economic development certification as included here. In terms of the installers, we're looking for installers with the Renewable Solar Energy Installer Certificate, also from DTEC. To talk a little bit about the systems and the system selection and scenarios, the first scenario, we are basing first and foremost the system sizing for each of the units on the consumption of critical equipment, and we're taking into consideration for these cases the refrigerator. So for dwelling units that have a refrigerator that consumes 489 kilowatts per hour per year or less, it would include a package of 3 kilowatt system. And that would be the 3 kilowatt DC PV modules, the battery bank with a voltage of 48 volts with a battery bank output of minimal 9 kilowatt hour. Okay. If that exceeds if the refrigerator consumption exceeds that 489 kilowatt hour per year, then a second package would be the prescribed scenario, and that would go to that 4.3 kilowatt DC PV module system. In that case, the battery bank output would be a minimum of 12.8 kilowatt hour. Going over to the water storage system, the water storage system is depending on the needs of the applicant, but is not to exceed 500 gallons per household. The capacity of the tank should be defined by the designer according to the needs, like we mentioned. It should be connected to the utility main water line, and it should also have monitoring and control pressure water level capacities. So that's the end of our scope of work presentation. I'll leave you back with our next presenter.
Good morning, everybody. I will start with the insurance requirements. Bidders shall be aware that in case of resulting selected for the award of this IFB, bidder must have a minimum of required insurance policies and coverage. For details regarding insurance requirements, refer to section 3.7 of the IFB instruction and attachment 4. IFB document acquisition. The IFB documents are available for download at the CDBG-DR website. Important dates for this IFB are the following. Pre-bid virtual conference, January 28, 2022 at 10:30 a.m. Submission of question and request for clarification, February 4, 2022 at 4 p.m. Respond to question and request for clarification, February 11, 2022. Bid due date, February 23, 2022 at 12 p.m. Virtual public bid opening, February 23, 2022 at 3 p.m. Bidders shall submit all questions in writing to the PRDOH email that is presented and or before February 4, 2022 at 4 p.m. Responses to all bidders' questions will be answered by addenda and will be posted on the CDBG-DR website. All procurement documents pertaining to the procurement process, including addenda issued by PRDOH, are and will be available for download at CDBG-DR website. All prospective bidders must monitor the CDBG-DR website to retrieve addenda, if any, issued for this procurement process. Bid submission. Bids are to be submitted on the bid due date started in the schedule included in section 4.3 of the invitation for bid instruction. Responses to the IFB submitted after the prescribed deadline will not be accepted. Bidders shall submit the responses in one sealed envelope with the name and the contact information of the bidder and the IFB number. in the center of the envelope. The contents of such envelope shall include all documents required by Exhibit A bid checklist. The envelope must contain the following completed original printed documents: Exhibit A, bid checklist; Exhibit B, statement of the bidder; Exhibit C, bid bond; and Exhibit O, cost form. Also, an electronic document bid and a redacted copy must be submitted as electronic media, PDF format in a universal serial bus USB flash drive. Bid must be submitted on or before February 23, 2022 at 12 p.m. If bidder is interested in delivering the IFB response before the scheduled bid due date, the bidder must notify to PRDOH at least 2 days in advance via email to coordinate the date and time of the delivery. Bidders are required to be screened by PRDOH security staff before entering the Juan C. Cordero Davila building. The use of masks or face coverings are mandatory. If signs of illness are shown, the bidder will not be permitted access to the building nor deliver the bid. Please maintain a distance of at least 6 feet for all other individuals when dropping off bids. Now my coworker will continue with the presentation.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Natalia Flores, and today I will discuss the bid opening evaluation criteria and bids evaluation. Due to COVID-19 restrictions, a maximum capacity of 20% has been established to attend to in-person bid opening. Only one representative of each bidder entity is allowed during this procedure. If you are interested in attending to the in-person bid opening, you must reserve your space by sending an email to cdbg-procurement@vivienda.pr.gov. It is mandatory the use of face masks and 6 feet distance between participants. PRDOH will show a projector with images at the request of the present bidders, or will say aloud the total amount of the offer presented by each bidder. The information will be written in an abstract of the bid opening. There will be no obligation or award declaration on the bid opening. Bidders that are not able to attend to the in-person bid opening to be held at PRDOH headquarters are invited to participate via internet. If you are interested in attending to the bid opening conference, you may request an invitation via email. Evaluation criteria. This IFB includes the following evaluation criteria. The mandatory requirements will be scored as either pass or fail. Failure to comply with all of the mandatory requirements of this IFB will result in the disqualification of the bidder. Mandatory requirements includes, among others, financial requirements. This will be evaluated as established in these IFB instructions in section 6.1.8. You must submit all the financial information required to be considered for this bid. The information submitted will permit a fail or pass grading following a scoring process by the PRDOH. A total grading of 70% or more is required to obtain a grading of pass. All documents authorized by a notary public outside of Puerto Rico jurisdiction shall be authenticated and included an official certificate or apostille from the Secretary of State, county clerk, or corresponding entity of the state government. The bid bond. The bid must be accompanied by the bid bond made payable to the PRDOH in the amount of 5% of the bid. This bond may be presented by the bidder in the form of a certified bank check or bid bond in the form attached as Exhibit C. If a bond is used, it must be issued by a surety appearing in the latest U.S. Department of Treasury listing of approved sureties. The circular letter 570, and authorized to do business in Puerto Rico. Bids will remain subject to acceptance to 180 days after the bid due date. Nonetheless, the PRDOH at its discretion may release a bid and return the related bid bond prior to that date. The bid bond of the successful bidder will be retained until such bidder has submitted all documents required for execution of the contract, and the bidder and PRDOH have duly executed such contract. The cost bid requirements will be submitted using Exhibit O, the cost form. Its evaluation. The PRDOH Procurement Division shall conduct a comprehensive, fair, and impartial evaluation of bids received in response to this IFB. Following the receipt of bids, the PRDOH Procurement Division will evaluate each bid based on the mandatory requirements. The evaluation of the mandatory requirements will establish the responsible bidders who are able to comply with the required goods and services being requested herein. The PRDOH Procurement Division will also evaluate the specifications of goods and services submitted by bidders with their bids to ensure that they comply with the specifications set forth in Attachment 1. This evaluation at PRDOH Procurement Division discretion may also be performed by the user area within the PRDOH that requests this procurement process. Those bids submitted by responsible bidders, or I should say responsive bidders, and whose goods and services comply with the specifications set forth in Attachment 1 will be considered responsive bidders. And now, Ms. Yaisa Colon, our procurement specialist, will follow this presentation. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Selection and award. If the bid is to be awarded, it will be awarded to the responsible builder that submitted the responsive bid with the lowest cost. Award will be made at a fair and reasonable prices only. The PRDOH Procurement Division will recommend the award to the PRDOH Bid Board. The award of the bid will be issued by the PRDOH Bid Board. SAM registrations. The bidders must be registered in the system for award management SAM at the time of the proposal submission. Initiate the registration process right after the bid submissions. For more information about the systems for award management SAM, go to the SAM website. There is no registration fee to create a renewal update your organization's information on SAMs. Award will only be issued to the entities that are cleared and not ineligible for award of a contract due to suspension, debarment, or hot impulse limited dial of participations. Section 3, MWB Business and Davis-Bacon Act. We have a presentation for this Assistant Deputy Secretary for Disaster Recovery, Maria del Carmen Figueroa Correa, for an introduction to federal civil rights compliance and labor standard PRDOH pre-submission training.
Good morning, everyone. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Thank you. I will be talking about federal civil rights compliance. Today, we will be discussing 1, overview of compliance roles and responsibilities, 2, overview of compliance areas and tools online, 3, documenting efforts, training and reporting, and frequently asked questions. Section 3, training, hiring and contracting opportunities compliance, minority and women-owned businesses participation, fair housing and equal opportunity compliance, and Davis-Bacon and related acts compliance. The contractor roles and responsibilities include assisting staff who will attend to the day-to-day activities for civil rights compliance, attending trainings and workshops, using tools and templates provided by PRDOH, executing activities and documentation needed, participating in PRDOH-sponsored technical assistance, completing quarterly reporting, and complying with reporting. For bonus points, proposers seeking Section 3 bonus points should provide their self-certifications and sufficient evidence for how they qualify as a Section 3 business. PRDOH offers a template on the website. Proposers seeking MBE or WBE bonus points should provide a copy of their MWBE certification to evidence their status. Certificates should show dates that include currently active. Now we'll be talking a little bit more about Section 3. Section 3 is a federal requirement of 24 CFR 75 from the House and Urban Development Act of 1968. You can access the Section 3 policy on our website. It is available in English and Spanish. Contractors must read and implement activities necessary to comply and oversee their subcontractors' compliance to assure overall compliance with the requirements. The Section 3 benchmarks are as follows. 25% of the total labor hours should be work hours of Section 3 workers. 5% of the total labor hours should be work hours of targeted Section 3 workers. Section 3 businesses refers to a business concern meeting at least one of the following criteria documented within the last 6-month period. It is at least 51% owned and controlled by low or very low income persons. It is a business at least 51% owned and controlled by current public housing residents or residents who currently live in Section 8 assisted housing. Over 75% of labor hours performed for the business over the prior 3-month period are performed by Section 3 workers. A Section 3 worker is any worker who currently fits or when hired within the past 5 years fit at least one of the following categories as documented. The worker's income for the previous or analyzed calendar year is below the income limit established by HUD. The worker is employed by a Section 3 business concern, or the worker is a youth build participant. A Section 3 targeted worker for housing and community development financial assistance project is a Section 3 worker who is employed by a Section 3 business concern or currently fits or when hired fit at least one of the following categories as documented within the past 5 years. Living within the service area of or the neighborhood of the project, or is a youth build participant. These are the income limits of Puerto Rico for 2020 and 2021. Section 3 forms. There you have the Section 3 plan. This document template allows contractors or recipients to identify how they plan on being in compliance with Section 3 hiring, training, and contracting goals. Section 3 self-certification forms. These document templates help individuals and businesses identify if they meet the requirements to be considered a Section 3 individual or business. And the documentation of effort forms. This document template allows contractors or recipients to identify how they are performing efforts to be in compliance with Section 3 efforts. Section 3 plan. This Section 3 plan helps you identify new hiring needs, identify subcontracting needs, plan outreach efforts, prepare coordinators for the day-to-day activities, provide guidance on types of activities to be performed, define a compliance procedure, understand documenting efforts and requirements, and understand reporting requirements. We've attached the link for the forms. We encourage businesses and individuals to complete self-certification forms to uncover if they meet the income threshold for a Section 3 resident or Section 3 business. You have the link right there. We also encourage businesses to also register HUD as a Section 3 business. We have the links right there too. Now we will be talking about the minority and women-owned businesses compliance. The MWBEs at 2 CFR Section 200.321 and Executive Orders 11625, 12138, and 12432 establish the participation of MWBE firms. They ensure that, when possible, contractors and other economic opportunities funded in whole or in part with the Federal Housing and Community Development Assistance are directed to minority business enterprises and women business enterprises. We have the WBE's policies in English and Spanish at our website. Minority business enterprise. MBE is defined as a business which is at least 51% owned, operated, controlled on a daily basis by one or more in combination American citizens of the following ethnic minority and or gender and or military veteran classifications. We have African American, Asian American, Hispanic American, Native American, Hasidic Jew, persons with disabilities, and other individuals who can prove social and economic disadvantage. Women business enterprise. A woman business enterprise is a business concern that is at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more women. Must be US citizens or legal resident aliens whose business formation and principal place of business are in the US or its territories, and whose management and daily operation is controlled by women. The MBE and WBE goals. These goals apply to professional services, purchasing supplies, and construction contracting. 10% for women-owned businesses, 10% for minority-owned businesses. It's a 20 total minimum participation goal. Contractors are expected to perform good faith efforts for contracting, subcontracting, and purchasing opportunities $10,000 or more during the life of the contract. MBE utilization plan. This document template allows contractors or recipients to identify how they plan on being in compliance with MWBE contracting goals. MWBE waiver form. These document templates help contractors or recipients identify if they meet the requirements to waive their goal for participation for MWBE. The MWBE utilization plan. Compliance data for MWBE subcontractors. Plan ahead subcontracting needs. Prepare users on creating supplier or contractor list of MWBE. Provides awareness of meeting the goals for the contract. Helps with tracking utilization. You can click there for the link for the MWBE utilization plan template. The MWBE utilization plan. The PRDOH MWBE utilization plan can be used throughout the life of your contract with PRDOH. Completing the MWBE utilization plan is easy. Read the general instructions in row 3. You will complete section A, B, and F from the document. Complete the information requested in the yellow cells. Here you have the PRDOH templates on the Enterprise Women Minority MWBE. They are in English and Spanish at our website. The certified minority or women-owned businesses can be those who have filed applications with SBA, EPA, DOT, MDA, WBE, NC, PMS, DC, PRMS, DC. I will be speaking a little bit about fair housing and equal opportunity. PRDOH, its subrecipients, and contractors must comply with the applicable federal civil rights laws that prohibit discrimination. These include housing activities, Fair Housing Act, as well as all federally funded programs and activities, sections 109 and 504. Discrimination is prohibited against the following federally protected classes: race, color, national origin, religion, sex, age, familial status, disability, gender identity, and sexual orientation. The Fair Housing Act is Title 8 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 as amended in 1888 and includes many executive orders, laws, and statutes. Equal opportunity is afforded to protect classes through a number of federal laws and executive orders. Some of them are right here. The PRDOH has published the Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity Guide for all CDBG-DR programs and made it available in English and Spanish. PRDOH has published the Language Access Policy and made it available in English and Spanish. You can find them at our website. As a recipient of HUD financial assistance, PRDOH must ensure that its programs affirmatively further access to fair housing. The PRDOH CDBG-DR program will take meaningful action to combat discrimination, overcome historic patterns of segregation, promote fair housing, choice, and foster inclusive communities. All federally funded programs must ensure that policies and procedures do not deny the opportunity to participate in, access, or benefit from programs like CDBG-DR program, including employment opportunities. These requirements are enforced by HUD's Office of Fair Housing and Equal Opportunity. Reasonable accommodation. Reasonable accommodations, RA, are changes made to a program policy, practice, service, which affords individuals with disabilities an equal opportunity to enjoy the benefits of the program. Section 504 requires that federally funded programs provide requested RARMs at the cost of the program to individuals to the extent that they are reasonable and serve a verifiable disability-related need. The CDBG-DR Reasonable Accommodation Policy provides requirements and guidance to programs about the critical due diligence and evaluation of these requests. The FCLS division assists programs in the handling and evaluation of these requests as needed. The limited English proficiency. Limited English proficiency refers to a person's limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English. PRDOH and contractors must ensure that a person's limited ability to read, write, speak, or understand English will not place them at a disadvantage in the participation of programs being funded with CDBG-DR funding through PRDOH. PRDOH has recently approved its Language Access Plan to direct how PRDOH and its subrecipients and contractors will take actions to ensure meaningful access for those who are LEP or limited Spanish proficient. Now we'll be speaking a little bit about Davis-Bacon and related acts. PRDOH has published the Davis-Bacon policy and made it available in English and Spanish. PRDOH and its subrecipients and their contractors must implement and comply with the PRDOH DBRA policy when applicable. Most construction projects funded with CDBG-DR funds must comply with DBRA requirements to ensure that laborers and mechanics are paid prevailing wages, including overtime wages for the work performed on CDBG-DR funded projects. Contractors awarded contracts funded with CDBG-DR funds are responsible for understanding and complying with DBRA requirements. Housing and Community Development Act of 1974, 29 CFR Section 5, Department of Labor, Davis-Bacon Act of 1931 as amended, Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938 as amended, Contract Work Hours and Safety Standards Act, WASA as amended, Copeland Anti-Kickback Act of 1934. Davis-Bacon Act, 40 U.S.C. Chapter 3, Section 276A, 276A through 5, requires payment prevailing wages as determined by DOL, Department of Labor, provides a fair opportunity to complete in-building programs funded by the federal government, prevents contractors from bidding below an area's prevailing wage, generally applies to federally funded or assisted projects valued at more than $2,000. Contracts for the following types of work on public buildings or public works: construction, alteration, and/or repair, painting, and decorating. Contract Work Hours and Safety Standards Act, WASA. Workers shall not work more than 40 hours a week unless they get overtime. Projects must comply with the safety standards. Copeland Anti-Kickback Act requires payments of wages at once a week. Only permissible payroll deductions allowed. Fair Labor Standards Act sets the federal minimum wage and additional overtime requirements. This is where projects where DBRA applies. First, we have procurement, the pre-bid meeting, contract signing, pre-construction meeting, on-site interviews, certified payrolls, notify the prime contractor, project closeout letter, and reporting and record keeping. Key phases on implementing DBRA. Incorporate the wage determination labor standards provided by HOD and HOD Form 4010 into your bid documents. Hold a pre-bid meeting to provide technical assistance to DBRA and prior to awarding the contract. Incorporate prevailing and federal wage determination, HOD Form 4010 and contract labor law language. Hold a pre-construction meeting to provide technical assistance to your contractors on DBRA. Once construction begins, conduct job site visits and employee interviews using HOD Form 11. Carefully reviewing weekly certified payroll reports and supporting documentation for the duration of the project. Issue due diligence notifications to the prime contractor describing the deficiencies to be remedied. Identify and correct all deficiencies before billing PRDOH for CDBG-DR reimbursement. Issue a letter of authorization from DBRA to the prime contractor prior to project closure. Retain records for 6 years in accordance with the Housing Records Retention Policy. Here we have resources for the FLSA, QASA, and Contractor Guide. These are links. The 410 HOD form. PRDOH and its subrecipients are responsible for HOD's overall compliance with the federal prevailing wage requirements applicable to HOD-funded CDBG-DR programs. Title I of the Housing and Community Development Act of 1974 requires the payment of local prevailing wages rates, which are determined by the U.S. Department of Labor, to all workers on CDBG-DR construction projects in excess of $2,000. These requirements apply regardless of whether the contract was acquired through the sealed bid, small purchase, or non-competitive proposal procurement process. Contractors must include the HOD 4010 form with all subcontracting tiers to ensure compliance with DBRA. These are the job site posters. You can locate the DBRA posters here. They are available, including in English and Spanish. These are the contractor penalties. Contractors that are found to be in violation of DBRA may have contract payments withheld in sufficient amounts to satisfy unpaid wages and liquidated damages that resulted from violations, may be subject to the debarment from future contracts for up to 3 years, may have grounds to have their contract terminated in extreme cases, may be subject to HOD's sanctions denying participation in HOD programs or debarment from the future HOD programs, may be subject to civil or criminal prosecution. You can visit the PRDOH DBRA webpage to find the resources, the DBRA resources. I'll be talking about training, documenting efforts, and reporting. Documentation of efforts template. This tool allows contractors or recipients to identify how they are performing efforts to be in compliance with Section 3 and MWB efforts. The quarterly reporting template. Our reporting form allows contractors and recipients to report on data for PRDOH to continually monitor progress throughout the year. Quarterly reporting. Reporting form. PRDOH's Uni report captures Section 3 data that includes new hires and training, construction contracting, non-construction contracting, efforts performed. The MWBE data, contracting for MBEs, contracting for WBEs, efforts performed. The FHEO data, limited English proficiency, compliance with EEOC, workforce race and gender information, DB unfound workers data. PRDOH will require quarterly reporting for all contractors. The dates are through January through March, April 5, April through June, July 5, July through September, October 5, and October through December on January 5. Now, these are the CDBG-DR frequently asked questions. Can a business be both Section 3 and MWBE? Yes, a business, a subcontractor, can be both because those compliance areas are separate. Section 3 identified level of incomes to determine status. MWBE uses race and gender information to qualify businesses. If I am not planning on subcontracting, do I still need to complete documents? Yes, you should still submit your MWBE utilization plan, the documentation of efforts template, and quarterly reports. If Section 3 doesn't apply to my contract, do I still have to complete the quarterly report? Yes, you will have to complete the MWBE report and HEO report areas. If I am either an MB or WB, do I fulfill the total goals? You may have safe harbor for one of the goals for MWBE participation of 10%, but you will still have an additional 10% goal to show good faith efforts for any subcontracting or purchasing you perform with the CDBG-DR funding. What happens if I don't fulfill the goals before the end of my contract? All awarded contractors should perform and document efforts. PRDOH has developed templates discussed in this presentation that help you complete this exercise. You can submit a waiver before the end of your contract for approval. The waiver request should be submitted with the efforts and justification as appropriate. Do I need to provide a statement of compliance with my certified payroll? While completion of the actual DOL form, WH347, is optional, it is mandatory for covered contractors and subcontractors performing work on federally financed or assisted construction contracts to respond to the information collections contained in 29 CFR Section 3.3, 5.5a. The Copeland Act, contractors and subcontractors performing work on federally financed or assisted construction contracts to furnish weekly a statement with respect to the wages paid each employee during the preceding week. U.S. Department of Labor, DOL, regulations at 29 CFR Section 5.5 A3 II require contractors to submit weekly a copy of all payrolls to the federal agency contracting for or financing the construction project, accompanied by a signed statement of compliance indicating that the payrolls are correct and complete and that each laborer or mechanic has been paid not less than the proper Davis-Bacon prevailing wage rate for the work performed. DOL and federally contracting agencies receiving this information review the information to determine that employees have received legally required wages and fringe benefits. Now, please remember to direct all questions through the established protocols for this procurement at cdbg-DR/procurement@vivienda.pr.gov. That will be all for federal compliance.
So we've finished, right? Yeah, we would like to thank every participant and thank you for your patience. And we will be publishing very shortly an addendum with this presentation. All the presentations that were given in here today, the recording and any other clarification that we feel is necessary. So thank you and have a great day.